The night on the alien planet was cold and silent. Thick trees covered the land, and strange glowing plants lit the ground with soft blue light. Ethan moved slowly between the trees, holding his scanner close to his chest. This planet was marked as Danger Zone by the Galactic Union. No humans came here unless they had no choice. Ethan had crashed 2 days ago. His small transport ship was broken, and long-range signals were dead. He was alone, hungry, tired, and now something strange was calling to him. A weak sound echoed through the forest. It was not an animal. It sounded like pain. Ethan stopped walking. His hand moved toward his blaster, but he did not pull it out. He followed the sound carefully, step by step, until he reached a small, open area. The ground was burned black, and broken metal parts were scattered everywhere. A crashed ship, and beside it a body. Ethan's heart started beating fast. Lying on the ground was an orc girl. She was tall, with green skin and long black hair spread across the dirt. Deep wounds covered her body. One of her arms was chained to a broken metal post. Blood stained the ground beneath her. Her armor was damaged, but strange glowing symbols were still visible on it. Orcs, the most feared race in the galaxy. They were known as killers, warriors, slavers. Humans were taught one rule since childhood: never help an orc. Ethan took a step back. Helping her could mean death. But then her eyes opened. They were not angry. They were afraid. She tried to move, but pain forced her back to the ground. A weak sound escaped her lips. Not a roar, not a threat, a whisper. Please. Ethan froze. He had never heard an orc beg before. His scanner beeped softly. He looked down and felt his blood turn cold. Multiple life signs were moving toward the area. Fust, bounty hunters. They must have left her here to die. Ethan's mind screamed at him to run, to hide, to forget what he had seen. But his body did not move. He looked at her wounds again. She would not survive the night. Slowly, carefully, Ethan moved closer. The orc girl watched him, her breathing weak. She did not attack. She did not move. She only watched him, as if he was her last hope. Ethan knelt beside her. I can help, he said softly. But I won't hurt you. Her eyes widened slightly. She looked confused. Then she closed her eyes, as if accepting whatever fate waited for her. Ethan worked fast. He broke the chain using a small plasma cutter. He used his medkit to stop the bleeding and seal the worst wounds. His hands shook the entire time. Every second felt heavy. The forest was too quiet. As he finished, the orc girl suddenly grabbed his wrist. Her grip was weak but firm. She opened her eyes and looked straight into his. You saved my life, she said slowly. Her voice was deep but gentle. Ethan swallowed. You were dying. I couldn't leave you. The orc girl struggled to sit up. Pain crossed her face, but she forced herself to speak. Among my people, she said, a life saved is not free. Ethan frowned. What do you mean? She took a deep breath. It means I'm yours now. Ethan pulled his hand back in shock. No, I don't want that. I'm not your owner. The orc girl looked confused, almost hurt. You do not understand, she said. This is orc law. This is blood law. She placed her hand on her chest. My body, my blade, my future. She met his eyes again. They belong to you. Before Ethan could respond, a loud engine sound roared through the sky. Lights flashed between the trees. Enemy ships were landing. The orc girl turned her head toward the sound, her expression changing. Fear was gone. Only fire remained. They are coming from me, she said. And now for you. Ethan stood up slowly, his heart pounding. He had helped a wounded orc girl, and the galaxy was about to make him pay the price. The forest shook as the enemy ships landed nearby. Heavy footsteps echoed between the trees. Red scanning lights moved across the ground, searching for signs of life. Ethan grabbed his blaster and looked around fast. They're too close, he whispered. We have to move. The orc girl slowly pushed herself up. Pain was clear on her face, but she stood tall, even while injured. She picked up a broken blade from the ground and held it tightly. I can still fight, she said. Ethan shook his head. You can barely stand. She looked at him with calm eyes. I will stand. For you. That made Ethan pause. For me? He asked. She nodded once. You saved my life. I am bound. There was no time to argue. Voices came closer. Ethan grabbed her arm and pulled her into the thick trees. They moved slowly, hiding behind rocks and roots, holding their breath as armored hunters passed by. One wrong sound meant death. After a long, silent walk, they reached a narrow cave hidden behind hanging vines. Ethan pushed the vines aside and guided her in. Inside, it was dark but safe. The scanner showed no life signs nearby. For now, Ethan let out a slow breath. His hands were shaking. The orc girl sat down carefully against the cave wall. Sweat covered her skin, and her breathing was heavy. Ethan checked her wounds again. They were still bad. You need rest, he said. She watched him closely. You should leave. Ethan looked up. What? They will hunt you because of me, she said. Humans should not die for orcs. Ethan gave a small, tired smile. Too late for that. She tilted her head, studying him like a puzzle she did not understand. My name is Zhara, she said at last. Daughter of the Iron Blood. Ethan froze. He knew that name. Iron Blood was a royal orc clan. Ancient. Powerful. Your royalty, he asked. Zhara nodded. Last of my line. That explained the symbols on her armor. And the bounty hunters. Ethan sat back against the wall. The galaxy really hates my luck. Zhara frowned. You speak strangely. You joke in danger. It helps me breathe, he said. For the first time, Zara's lips curved slightly. A small smile. Almost human. Silence filled the cave. Then Zhara spoke again. You said you do not want to own me, she said. Why? Ethan looked at her. Because people aren't things. Zara's eyes widened. Among orcs, strength decides value. Ownership is honor. Well, humans are weird, Ethan replied. We choose who we stand with. We don't force it. Zhara looked down at her hands. Her voice was quiet now. No one has ever chosen me without fear. That sentence hit harder than any weapon. Outside, distant gunfire echoed. The hunters were still searching. Zhara slowly stood and knelt in front of Ethan. The movement caused her pain, but she did not stop. What are you doing? Ethan asked sharply. I offer myself, she said. Not as law, as choice. Ethan stepped back. No, get up, please. She looked up at him. If you walk away, I will die. If you stay, you will be hunted. This is the price. Ethan clenched his fists. His mind screamed that this was madness. Helping her once was already dangerous. Staying meant war. But when he looked at Zhara, he did not see a monster. He saw someone abandoned, hunted, alone. I won't leave you, he said finally. But not because of a bond. Because it's right. Zara's eyes burned with emotion. Orcs did not cry, but something close filled her gaze. You are a strange human, she said. Footsteps suddenly stopped outside the cave. A voice shouted, Tracks end here. Ethan grabbed his blaster. Zhara rose beside him, injured but ready. She leaned close and whispered, If we survive, the bond will change everything. Ethan swallowed hard. He had helped a wounded orc girl. Now he was standing between her and the entire galaxy. And there was no turning back. The sun had barely risen when Ethan and Zhara stepped out of the cave. The forest was alive with strange sounds, but their steps were quiet. Ethan kept his blaster ready. Zhara walked beside him, her wounds still raw, but her eyes sharp and alert. The hunters are everywhere, Ethan whispered. We can't stay here. Zhara nodded. I know. My enemies want my life, and now yours. Ethan's stomach twisted. He had never imagined that helping one wounded orc could put him in the middle of a galaxy-wide hunt. They moved through the dense forest, careful to avoid patrols. Every few minutes, the red glow of scanning drones passed through the trees. Ethan knew one mistake could mean instant death. Where are we going? He asked. Zhara paused, thinking. There's a safe place, an old settlement hidden beneath the mountains. But it is far. We must survive the journey first. Hours passed. They moved slowly, hiding whenever the drones passed overhead. Ethan noticed how Zara's strength seemed endless. She still fought back pain, guiding him, whispering warnings, showing paths that humans would never see. You are strong, he said quietly. She smiled faintly. You saved me, but it is your courage I respect. Most would have left. Ethan looked away, unsure how to respond. Respect? Trust? The line was blurry, but he felt it. Something different. Something he had never felt in the galaxy before. Suddenly, the ground shook. Ethan's heart jumped. A large shadow moved between the trees. Hunters! Zhara growled, her voice low and dangerous. A squad of armored bounty hunters emerged, their weapons ready. Ethan raised his blaster. Zara's eyes burned like fire. She held her broken blade in a firm grip, standing in front of him. "They want to kill us," Ethan muttered. "They will try," Zhara said calmly. "But they will not succeed." The first hunter fired. Laser beams cut through the trees, igniting dry leaves. Ethan fired back, taking down one of them. Zhara moved like lightning, despite her injuries. She cut through 2 hunters with her blade, her movements precise and deadly. Ethan stared. Orcs were not monsters. They were warriors. And Zhara, she was extraordinary. Another squad approached from the right. Ethan realized they were surrounded. Panic surged, but he forced himself to focus. "We need to move," he shouted. Zhara nodded. Together, they ran through a narrow path, jumping over rocks, sliding under fallen branches. The hunters chased them, but Zhara seemed to know the forest. She led Ethan to a hidden cliff, the edge overlooking a deep canyon. "Jump," she yelled. Without hesitation, Ethan followed. They fell, landing on soft moss far below. Pain shot through his legs, but he pushed it aside. He looked at Zhara, who had landed gracefully, blood mixing with dirt. "They will not stop," she said. "Not until I am dead or bonded." Ethan frowned. "Bonded?" She looked at him with a serious gaze. "The moment you saved me, the bond began. It is not just my loyalty. It is my life, my fate, my soul, now linked to yours." Ethan's heart sank. He had thought he understood the danger. But this was deeper. Now it was not just bounty hunters. Now it was destiny itself. A sudden sound made them both freeze. Flying drones hovered above, scanning with red lasers. The hunters were coordinating. An escape seemed impossible. Zhara grabbed Ethan's hand. "Trust me," she said. "Together, we are stronger than they think." Ethan nodded. Fear and determination fought inside him. He had never trusted anyone like this, and yet he could not leave her side. The drones dropped bombs, shaking the forest floor. Ethan and Zhara ducked behind rocks as trees exploded around them. Sparks flew, and the air filled with smoke and the smell of burning leaves. Ethan realized one terrifying truth. The galaxy now hated him. Every human, every orc enemy, every bounty hunter would see him as a target. And Zhara? She was royalty. Her life alone could start a war. He swallowed hard. "We'll have to fight every step." Zara's eyes glinted in the smoke. "Yes, and if we survive, nothing will ever be the same." A final laser cut through the air near them. Ethan fired back, and Zhara leapt forward, blade flashing. Together, human and orc, they fought like one being, one heartbeat, one purpose. Above the forest, enemy ships hovered, and below, the forest became a battlefield. One thing was clear. Ethan had saved her life. But now, he would fight not just for her survival, but for his own soul, his own fate, and the beginning of something neither of them could escape. The smoke cleared from the forest, leaving the scent of burned leaves and metal in the air. Ethan's chest heaved. His arms ached. Every part of him screamed to stop. But Zhara stood beside him, holding her broken blade, her green skin smeared with blood and dirt. "They are relentless," Ethan said, voice trembling. "How many more can there be?" Zhara looked up at the sky. "They will not stop until I am gone. And now you are too. The hunters will see me as claimed, but enemies of my clan will see you as my price." Ethan frowned. "Price? What do you mean?" Zara's voice became quiet but steady. "The bond. You saved me, and it began the moment you touched my life. But it is more than loyalty. It is my life, my soul, my future bound to you. And that bond comes with a cost." Ethan's stomach tightened. He had known helping her would be dangerous, but he had not imagined this. "What cost?" he asked. She stepped closer, her eyes locking onto his. You will never have a normal life again. Every enemy I have becomes yours. Every battle I face, you'll fight. My life is yours, yes, but your freedom, your peace, they are gone. Ethan swallowed. He had always believed in freedom. He had always believed that choice was his. But now everything had changed. A sudden movement behind them made him spin. A squad of bounty hunters emerged from the shadows, their weapons raised. Ethan fired instinctively, but there were too many. Zhara charged forward despite her wounds, her blade slicing through the enemies with precision and fury. "Stay close to me," she shouted. Ethan moved beside her, covering her back. Every shot he fired, every move he made, was for her. He realized something terrifying and beautiful at the same time. He would risk everything for her, even if it meant death. The fight ended quickly, leaving bodies scattered across the forest floor. Ethan's arms shook and sweat ran down his face. He looked at Zhara, expecting her to collapse. But she stood tall, pain written across her features, yet her eyes unwavering. "You saved me once," she said softly. "Now I save you." Ethan frowned. "I don't need saving." "You do," she said, "because if I die, you will lose more than me. Your life, your future, everything you know, it will crumble." Silence fell. Only the distant hum of enemy ships broke it. Ethan looked at her, seeing not the fierce warrior, but someone fragile, someone human in her own way. "I don't care," he whispered. "I won't leave you." Zara's eyes softened. "Then you understand the price of forever. You are mine, just as I am yours. But that means every choice you make, every path you take will be touched by me. Every battle, every enemy, every danger will follow you." Ethan took a deep breath. The weight of her words pressed on him, but he nodded. He would accept the price. He had already accepted at the moment he decided to save her life. A sudden roar echoed from the trees. A massive figure stepped into the clearing, a leader of the orc hunters. Its armor gleamed in the weak sunlight. Its eyes glowed red with fury. "Zhara," it bellowed, "you dare defy your clan? You betray our law." Zhara raised her blade without fear. "I choose my own path," she said. "This human saved me. I will not allow anyone to harm him." The hunter laughed, a sound like thunder. "Then he will die, and you with him." Ethan's heart pounded. He had expected enemies, but not this. A confrontation with the entire clan, with Zara's life and his own hanging in the balance. Zhara turned to him. "We fight together. Now you see, the bond is not just loyalty. It is life, choice, and survival." Ethan raised his blaster. Zhara charged ahead. They moved as one, human and orc, their fates intertwined. Every shot, every swing, every step was a testament to their connection. As the battle raged, Ethan realized something profound. Helping Zhara had cost him freedom, safety, peace, but had given him purpose, courage, and an unbreakable bond. The clearing was chaos. The air smelled of smoke and blood. But amidst it all, Zhara fought fiercely, protecting him as much as he protected her. And in that moment, Ethan understood the truth of her words. The price of saving a life could be a lifetime of war, but some prices were worth paying. Cliffhanger for Part 5. Will Ethan survive the Orc clan's full wrath? Can Zhara and he change the fate of Orc and human worlds, or is their bond destined to cost them everything? The smoke had cleared. The forest was quiet again, but the echoes of the battle still lingered in the air. Ethan's body ached from the fight, and Zara's wounds had not fully healed. Yet, despite exhaustion, they stood together, side by side. The Orc clan leader lay defeated. Their ships had retreated, and the bounty hunters were gone. But the real battle was far from over. Zhara turned to Ethan, her green eyes soft and full of emotion. "You survived," she said quietly. "We both did together." Ethan gave a tired smile. "We barely survived. But it's over, right?" Zhara shook her head. "Not yet. The bond, it remains. You saved me. You fought for me. And now, you are part of Orc destiny." Ethan frowned. "Part of Orc destiny? I'm human." She stepped closer. "Yes, but humans are brave, and humans can change the future. You saved my life, and in doing so, you changed everything. The clans will no longer see me as just a princess to be claimed. They will see me as a leader, and you, as the human who fought by my side, will be respected." Ethan blinked. Respect? Humans and orcs together? He never imagined it. A soft wind blew through the trees, and he looked around at the aftermath of the battle. The forest smelled of smoke, blood, and survival. He realized how fragile life was, yet how much courage it held. "Zhara," he said, "I didn't save you to become part of orc politics. I just didn't want you to die." Zara's lips curved into a small smile. "I know. That is why the bond is special. It is not forced, not law. It is choice. You chose to stand with me, and I chose to stand with you." Ethan's heart thumped. He had never felt such a connection before. Stronger than fear, stronger than danger, stronger than any law or tradition. Days passed. The clan elders convened. For the first time in history, a human was allowed to stand in the Orc Council. Ethan listened as Zhara spoke to her people about peace, loyalty, and courage. She told them the story of how a human saved her life, fought beside her, and earned the respect of warriors. Many orcs were skeptical, but others nodded. They saw her words, her determination, and Ethan's courage. Slowly, the impossible began to take shape. Humans and orcs could work together. Humans and orcs could trust each other. Ethan still struggled with his new reality. Everywhere he went, eyes watched him, some with suspicion, some with curiosity. But Zhara was always beside him, guiding him, protecting him, and laughing at his awkward human ways. One evening, as the sun set over the alien forest, Zhara stood with Ethan on a cliff overlooking the valley. "You've changed everything," she said softly. "Not just my life, but the future of our people." Ethan looked at her. "I didn't think one person could make a difference. But maybe together we can." Zhara extended her hand. "Then stand with me. Not because of law, not because of blood, but because we choose to." Ethan took her hand. He felt warmth, strength, and trust. For the first time in his life, he felt like he truly belonged, somewhere between worlds, between species, and between life and destiny. "Together," he said. And for the first time, Zhara laughed. Not a warrior's laugh, not a princess's laugh, but a free human laugh. The sound echoed across the valley, soft and strong, a promise of hope. Weeks turned into months. Humans and orcs learned from each other. Farms were rebuilt. Cities were repaired. Training grounds became joint camps. And Ethan, the human who had once stumbled into the forest alone, became a symbol, a hero who reminded both species of courage, choice, and heart. Zhara and Ethan often stood side by side, teaching others, sharing stories, and building a new future. Their bond was no longer a price to pay. It was a promise of respect, friendship, and love. Ethan sometimes remembered that night he found Zhara wounded and chained, and he realized how one choice, one small act of courage, had changed everything. The galaxy had been cruel, but together they had proven that humans and orcs could rise above fear. They could create honor. They could create hope. And as the twin moons rose in the sky, Ethan whispered to Zhara, "We saved each other, and we saved more than just one life." Zhara smiled, her eyes reflecting the moons. "Yes, together we changed destiny." The forest was quiet. The air was calm. The battle was over, and the galaxy would never forget the human who became part of orc history. One human's courage saved an orc princess. One bond defied law, tradition, and fear. And together, they changed the fate of two worlds forever.